Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, I would like to go over my favorite books that I read during 2018. I was going to include this in a different video, but that video ended up being entirely too long. So, in 2018, I read 31 books. I've narrowed down my favorites to 6 of those. I'm going to give you a brief synopsis of each, tell you what I liked about it. If I'd read them again, which I feel is really important. Rereadability is important to me because I love to revisit old books to notice new things and get back into that world. Let's go. 3 of these are physical copies. The other 3 are digital copies from my Kindle. So the first book I want to talk about is Still Me by JoJo Moyes. This is the 3rd installment in the Me Before You series. In Me Before You, we meet a woman named Lou. She takes a job taking care of a man named Will Turner. Trainer? Shit, what's his last name? Trainer. Will Turner is... In this series, we meet a woman named Lou who takes a job taking care of a paraplegic man whose name is Will Trainer. If you haven't read the book or seen the movie, I won't spoil it for you, but it's not a super happy ending to the book. It's more bittersweet, and I bawled my eyes out when I read the first book, both times I read it, and I cried in the second book, and I cried during this one too. I finished this on a plane. There's video footage of me ugly crying on the plane. I've included that in a previous video. I'm gonna put that up here. This book is killing me. It's so sad. It's so good. I'm sorry. Because I think it's funny, ugly crying in public over a book. I think that's pretty relatable for book lovers. I love JoJo Moyes' writing style, the way that she brings her characters to life and the way that you treasure them. I will carry this story with me for a long time, and I hope that she's going to continue this series because I know I'm not the only one who loves the characters that she has created and the lives that they live. In Still Me, Lou moves from England to New York to work for a very wealthy man and be an assistant for his wife, who is from, I think, Russia, and it's literally been a year since I wrote this book, so if I'm not accurate, I'm sorry. And the wife is having some troubles adjusting to life in America, and she just needs an assistant, and that is where Lou comes in. It's also an adjustment for her living in the United States and living in high society in the United States, and she was just a regular middle class gal in England. Also, the long distance relationship between her and Ambulance Sam, her boyfriend, her struggles with the long distance relationship there, and I loved it. I bawled. If you're looking for a good cry, good book to just cleanse that out of you, I recommend the Me Before You series, and especially Still Me. The next book that was a favorite from 2018 is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I do have a full review on this book, which I'll link right here. This was a first-time read for me. I've never seen the Hulu series. I vaguely knew the premise going into it. It took me by surprise. The main character that we follow, her name is Offred, and she's a handmaid in what is called the Republic of Gilead. It's vaguely a portion of the northeastern United States. In this dystopian society, women have lost all of their rights and all ability to make their own autonomous choices. In this day and age, the number of births is declining enough to not be able to sustain the population, and so a portion of the population of women in this country are forced to be handmaidens, and their purpose in life is to bear children for the upper class and to help populate. They are sent to live with a man and his wife and their household, and once a month the man and the handmaid have sex to try and conceive a child. It started out with women not being allowed to read, and then not being allowed to vote or have their own property, and then all of their rights were taken away. And what I found to be interesting about this book is that our main character, Offred, we never actually learn her real name or the name that she had previous to this society. She remembers her life and what it was like before she lost all of her rights. She remembers going to the movies and wearing whatever clothes she wanted and her own husband that she had. But all of that is taken away. The ending of the book took me by surprise. I was finishing this in my husband's office. I like to go and just chill there after work sometimes. So I was in their break room reading this, and I finished the last page, closed the book, and shouted, holy shit! It had me shook, right? I needed a minute to kind of process the book. I think everyone should read this, especially if you're a woman in our current political climate with our debates about abortion and pro-life, pro-choice, women's reproductive rights. It was a little spooky. Uncanny Valley. Totally possible in our lifetime if things went or go a certain way. The next one is A Town Divided by Christmas by Orson Scott Card. I got this at a book signing that I went to where he was. This is a signed copy. A signed first edition copy. In this story, two PhD students, I suppose, are tasked by their program director. They are sent to the small town of Good Shepherd in North Carolina to study the genetics of the people there. Most of those people have never left that town in their whole lives. And Dr. Spunky, who is our main character and narrator, she goes around collecting stories from the people, and her partner, Elion, he stays home and plugs in the data so that they can get their project done and go home. In this town, there are two churches. They used to be the same church until one Christmas decades before this. There were two babies born, and there was a fight over which baby would be the baby Jesus in the nativity for Christmas that year. And then the churches split. So they had two churches, the exact same names, and they had never reconciled in all of that time. And so their job is to find out why and what happened. It was really cute. It's like if Orson Scott Card and John Green had a literary baby, you would get this book. I'm used to reading Orson Scott Card's science fiction, so reading young adult fiction was different, but refreshing. It's not a Christmas story, as he told us at his signing. It's not a Christmas story. It's just a story that happens around Christmas. The last three books that I want to talk about, I read digitally on my Kindle. I acquired this just before Christmas, literally a week. I couldn't wait. The first one is The Day the World Came to Town by Jim Defede. This book is a true story documenting real events that occurred during and in the aftermath of the 9/11 attacks on the World Trade Centers and the Pentagon. Almost immediately after those attacks, the U.S. government shut down all of U.S. airspace, told all planes to land immediately at the nearest airport, and all international flights had to divert and could not enter the United States. There were 38 planes that were diverted from the United States and told to immediately land in Gander, Newfoundland. This tiny town had about 10,000 people living on it, and there were about 7,000 people on board those planes. So their population almost doubled in a day. These people were stranded, unable to take off their checked luggage. It's a story of how the people in Gander came together to support their southerly neighbors, complete strangers from different countries, different walks of life, different beliefs, and help them in their time of need. I found it to be very inspiring, and it helped to renew some of my faith in humanity, that people are good. We hear a lot of the bad, but I do believe that most people are inherently good and willing to help. I loved it. I was sad that it was over. I wanted more. The Day the World Came to Town by Defede. The fifth book that I loved during 2018 was The Wrong Bachelor by Alexandra Moody. This is classic, predictable, young adult romantic fiction. You know from the beginning who's going to end up with who. An easy read, a fun read. In this book, we have Maddie, who has a boyfriend, but he's kind of a dick. She doesn't realize that, though. Of course, she doesn't see the red flags that everybody else sees. Her school is holding a fundraiser in the form of a dating game that is essentially based off of the Bachelor TV series. One boy is nominated, and of course it's Cole, who she hates. She used to be friends with him, and they're not friends anymore. And her and several other girls from the school and one guy were all nominated to be a part of this charity show. It's very cute. Just fun and innocent, and I loved it. It was very enjoyable. It filled that need for easy romance that you sometimes feel, that's not like heavy or sexual or like embedded in dystopia. The last book is the second to last book that I read during 2018. It is the first in the series. It is called The Gender Game by Bella Forrest. There are 7 books in this series. They're all available on Kindle, and they're free with Kindle Unlimited. I've talked about this in a couple other videos. Our main character in the Gender Game series is Violet. She lives in a city called Matrix, and in this city, women have all control. Men have little to no rights, and it's much different from our society. The neighboring city / country is separated by a toxic river, and it is called Patris. When Violet is threatened with the death penalty, the queen of Matrix sends her on a secret mission to the opposing country, and the story details her experience in a very patriarchal society, meeting people who have grown up with completely different ideals, having to adjust to a new standard to avoid being punished, while maintaining secrecy that she is not a spy from Matrix. So that's the first of 7 books. I have completed the series. I really enjoyed them. I did not like book 6, but I liked all the other ones. And those 6 books are my favorites from 2018. What are some of your favorites? Let me know in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Give us a big thumbs up. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye. I look like Sokka. Rereadability is important to me. I gotta stop with this pen thing. The other 3. Cool. Nice work, Laura. You're the best. You're super cool at everything, and everybody likes you, even though you ruin your own books by not cleaning enough. I fell the other day up the stairs, and I crashed my knee into the stair. My knee is so bruised. It's like purple. See if I can't show you my cankles. Ah! So I keep bumping it on stuff and it hurts. I think Amazon should sponsor me. You know how many times I can easily say Kindle and not have it be like obvious that I'm saying Kindle. Is she assassinating the king? Is that what the goal is here? What was the goal here?